Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So Dracula is a three-part series from Netflix and the BBC, and it once again tries to tell the story of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, I myself didn't know anything about this series until I saw the trailer, and that's when I got interested. So getting into the things that I like about this series is first and foremost the acting by Claes as Count Dracula and Dolly as Agatha. They were by far the best thing about this series because I really like how they not only embodied the characters, but it also added a lot of wit, humor, charm, and everything that you would enjoy out of very well thought out and very well written characters. And so they were the main things that really kept me watching the entire series. And so the second thing that I like was the very first episode. So each one of these episodes is about an hour to 20, hour and 30 minutes. So it's practically a whole movie. And so the very first episode where we meet Jonathan Harker going to Count Dracula's castle and meeting Count Dracula, it's very horrific. It's dark. It gives a lot of sense of tension and mystery. All of those things that you think about when you think of Dracula, it's all in that very first episode, and it's done so well. And I think that one really set the mood for what I was expecting out of this series, and it did a great job in doing that. And then the other thing that I enjoyed about the series is the whole gore factor. They didn't really hold too many things back. You know, there are a lot of times when they do things in the series and you would think they wouldn't show it. They might like show a cut and then they'll pan back to it. But no, they actually show Dracula doing what he does best. And that's killing people, you know, and eating them. And so they don't shy away from that, and I'm glad that they didn't. And then I would say the final thing that I enjoyed about this is more of the human side of Dracula, showing his weaknesses, his vulnerability, and a little bit more depth into who he is, especially when it comes into contact with Agatha, as she is also very similar to him, but on the other side. And so those are the main things that I enjoyed about this series.
For the best value in domain names, check out Namecheap, where you could get a domain for an entire year for less than $10, plus get WhoisGuard privacy protection for free. For more information, check out the affiliate link in the description area below.
And so now getting into the things that I didn't like about this series is that after episode 1, episode 2 really started to drift away, and episode 3 completely went to the areas of ridiculousness. And at least for me, episode 3 was pretty much what made this series not great, and it could have been. And episode 2, as far as I understand, it takes pieces from Bram Stoker's Dracula's book, but it changes a lot of things as well. And I really felt a huge shift from episode 1, which was more horror, mystery, suspense, all of those things. And they kind of like threw that away in episode 2. And then by episode 3, I couldn't even remember episode 1. You know, it didn't really even seem like the same show. And so those were probably the biggest things that I didn't enjoy about this series, and how as you go from episode to episode, it honestly progressively got worse and more disconnected from what I thought I was going to get out of this series. And then other things that I didn't enjoy as much is the overall characters surrounding, Count Dracula and Agatha. They simply weren't interesting. And even when they did get interesting, like for example, Jonathan Harker, he only appears in that very first episode. It doesn't really reappear anywhere else in terms of like actually being there. And so I think that's kind of a waste, where you would go into these episodes, you would meet these new characters, and they really don't have much of a connection to any of the other characters. And so that's another thing. And then the final thing, kind of like I alluded to a little bit earlier, each one of these episodes is about an hour 20 minutes, hour 30 minutes, and they seem like its own show or own movie. And that's probably why things seem so disjointed. They don't seem connected at all, to where if you're watching episode 3 and then you watch episode 1, they wouldn't seem like the same show at all. The same story, nothing. Except for the fact that some of the characters and some of the backstory is connected. And so that's overall my thoughts on Dracula. I really had high hopes for this series, especially seeing episode 1. It was really good. And then once you go towards episode 2 and then finally episode 3, it just kind of lost me. And I think it was a real missed opportunity. And so those are my thoughts on Dracula. If you've seen this series or any other series that you enjoyed, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Go Content Creators group where you get access to additional videos and content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Go Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.